Keep working. All right. Oh, another cold day here in the Holy Land, huh? 8:20 in the morning, January 19th, Monday. I think the rain's over for a brief period of time anyway. Let's take a quick look. Israel had enough rain this winter, I would say, to make sure we didn't, the drought got reversed, you could say. So we're looking at a sunny day, but low temperatures for some reason. 57 high, 42 low. Tonight will be 40 degrees low. That's one of the coldest days we'll have here. Are you going to bring the birds in tonight?
What's the temperature?
Well, it's going to be 40.
No, I won't because they've got those lights. They'll be fine.
All right.
If it ever gets to freezing, I'll consider it.
All right.
It's the wind that I protect them from.
Okay. So, tomorrow more sun, and then Wednesday cloudy, Thursday cloudy, but warmer, and then the rain's off the horizon. Actually, what they're talking about is in a few days going up into very low 60s. Then we're even talking about it hitting 70 in about 10 days and high 60s and stuff. So we could start pulling out of it, could any time in February we could pull out of the winter. That I would say could be the case without any doubts. All right. So we're going to be shivering till then, I got a nice warm blanket and I like sleeping with that on. I was putting a strong, like a beanie hat on, and it's a little too much with the blanket. So I was, wasn't sleeping as well because I was getting hot. So I took it out. Last night I didn't do so great because I was eating too late. I got to stop eating by probably 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So it doesn't bother me during the night. Doesn't bother me. I get up, All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about the war news today. There's still news. It's still going on. We'll try to analyze what we think Trump will and will not do. And then we'll get into Bible prophecy, what they call the lesser prophets today. We'll get into some of that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the war. There's not a lot happening. But stuff. There is stuff, but not that much. Okay, let's go into the live stream. So this could be the lull before the storm. Thing that somebody was talking about, things I'm afraid of. The things that I'm afraid of are this thing just continuing on and on for years before we reach redemption in Zechariah 12. That's what I'm afraid of, and I'm not really afraid of it. It's what I just don't look forward to. because I don't like what's going on now. You know, you guys are, of course, having a bad time around the world, but we've been in basically war for 2 years plus, and we got Netanyahu, who I believe is a war against us because the government's trying to put him in jail. And, you know, so we got enemies internal and external, which you probably do too. But we get terrorist infiltrations almost daily now. We get terrorist attacks every so often. We get threats of war. Hamas won't disarm. Hezbollah won't disarm. There's weird events in Syria that I'll talk about today. And the Houthis are still there, and Iran is still threatening us, and Iraq is threatening us, and Turkey is threatening us, and Egypt is threatening us. You know, so you think you have it bad, but you analyze what I just said. But the thing to me that's the worst of this is that it just continues like this. We don't have the wars. I want the wars now, before breakfast, but I don't know if we'll get it. That's what I want. Okay. Let me put a post up and then we'll get going. I welcome the wars. I look forward to them. I don't want to see this nonsense keep continuing. That's what I'm reluctant to. That's what I don't want. And we'll talk about that today. We'll pray about it and stuff. All right, you got that done. Let me pin it up. Okay. Got it. All right. Let me shut the sound here. There we go. All right. Being a Bible believing site, Old and New Testament, I'm going to do some praise. And if you love the Lord, you can, not the Satan, evil Lord, you know, who's not a Lord, you know. If you love Yeshua and, or, you know, and Jehovah, Father God Jehovah, and Yeshua HaMashiach, you can join him. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay, so let's go through the news so we can get into the Bible prophecies. Okay, so Syria's having some interesting revolutions over there. You know, this was a mistake that Trump made in Syria, that he would, you know, Satan bot leaders never admit they made mistakes. Go back in time and try to find an American president that said he made a mistake, not his critics, himself. Yeah, I don't think you'll find it. There is something about Obama getting investigated for some sort of charging of a crime, but I don't know how. I have so much doubt that that'll ever materialize, but you never know. All right. So, Giuliani was going after the Kurds. The Kurds are fighting Giuliani. The Kurds are in northeast Syria where the oil is, where the American bases are to protect the oil. And the Kurds protect the oil, and the Kurds are armed. And they even had a prison where there were ISIS people in it. And they released the ISIS people, which probably are going to try to get rid of Giuliani. So they just opened up the prison doors. I don't know how many went out, probably a few hundred. So Syria is so screwed up, it's got sections where Giuliani isn't really that much into control, like where the Druze are, where Israel's protecting them in the southwest, in roughly near Damascus, So they made a treaty, the Kurds made a treaty with Giuliani, and it was broken within hours. I didn't hear anything about Trump making the treaty, but he might have, but I didn't hear anything about it, so I doubt it. And it may get reinstated. I don't know what's going to go on, Giuliani is committed to racial genocide. I think his fears are for him. This character, this transactional Giuliani, is not a very old person, probably mid-30s to maybe 40, 41 or something like that, So I think what this Giuliani critter is trying to do is do racial genocide to get rid of the people that are going to be opposed to him based on birth and religious philosophy. He seems to be with an Al-Qaeda ISIS background. So people are very concerned that if Giuliani ever, gets Syria under control, which he's failed to do to date, that, he'll just genocide to make sure the people that are in Syria are of the same religious background and birth as Giuliani or allied with him, and he doesn't have to worry about them overthrowing him. And that's where he's going, and this requires genocide. And the Druze are a nightmare to him, and Israel's protecting the Druze. The Druze want to even set up a section of Syria that's Druze, he doesn't want that. The Druze are not, in the strictest sense at all, Muslim. They use the Quran and they also use many other religious texts, I believe, including the Bible. So they're rejected, of course, by Giuliani's sect. Giuliani also wants to get rid of the Druze, the Kurds, the Alawites, and other kinds of Muslims. Giuliani is the Holocaust waiting to happen. Iran is a Holocaust that we saw already happen. People are talking I hear people on the internet, at least 2,000 got killed. No, man, you should be thinking at least 20,000 got killed in Iran, okay? Now, all right, so the Giuliani ceasefire in Syria, we don't know where we're at with that yet. Trump seems to back the Kurds. Turkey seems to back Giuliani because he hates the Kurds. And Turkey wants a genocide on the Kurds, but he's perhaps a little bit afraid to get labeled as being an exterminator and doing a genocide on the Kurds, so he would prefer to have Giuliani do it with him backing Giuliani. Trump doesn't seem to be that concerned with Syria. He doesn't see it as any sort of threat to him or his military bases. Now, Iraq is a threat to Syria, and there's a lot of former Bashar Assad militia types that fled when Giuliani took over. They fled into Iraq, and they could always slip back in and attack Giuliani. Giuliani may be forced to allow Israel to fly over their airspace to attack Iran. First of all, how's he going to stop us? Second of all, Trump could just dictate to him, do it. That's that. Before I forget, there's an interesting free AI website I found. Now, there's different ways of doing AI. Grok, the paid version, I believe you install it in your computer or your desktop or your phone, and it works a lot slower. So what I could get done in 3 to 5 seconds, say in another AI program, might take 20 to 45 seconds with Grok. Grok's quick, but it can hit a minute or close to a minute. Generally around 20, 30 seconds, depending on what you're searching for, and how detailed you're tasking the thing. Now, I'm finding out there's websites that allow you to access dozens and dozens of different AI programs off of their website using their server, and they charge $6 a month. I'm going to look into it today, and I might join it. And you do get ChatGPT, and you do get Grok, and you do get Gemini, and you do get this, and you do get that. Hundreds, I believe it is, for $6 a month. But none of them are an app, so whenever you want to use it, you got to go to the website. But it uses their servers, so it's going to be very, very fast, but not as private. Okay, when you use something like Grok and it doesn't go through the Grok servers or the Twitter servers, then it all stays in your computer and they don't have any idea what you did. That's important to some people, not to me. I don't care. So they have what's called uncensored or freedom AI. When you get the standard ones, the Gemini, the Grok, the ChatGPT, they're censored, they're controlled. Okay? So it won't do certain things. Like if you ask it to make pictures of political people, like Trump dressed as Julius Caesar, some of them won't do it. Some will. But the ones that are not censored will. So there's also some that are very, very powerful. So I'm going to try to find time and go in there and see what I could do with Bible translations with these uncensored ones. Maybe they're, I say, what's the oldest Septuagint you could get? And they say 2nd century. Maybe when I get into these other ones that are not censored or controlled or restricted in any way, I might find out some different things. I don't know. I was messing with it yesterday, but I got tired. And when you're tired, it's not a good time to do Bible. I was doing other stuff, transactional investigations, and it gets fooled. It gets fooled by the subjects you're asking them to investigate. So it's not any good at that. I can't make it do it the way I wanted to do it. I have another one or two ideas, but I don't think it's going to work. Uh, if you want to, you've got something, a condition you want to try to correct with supplements, not with medicines. Um, any of these AI programs will tell you what supplements it recommends, what they do, how they work, the action, the dose, how long it takes to work. It even tell you where to get it at a good price, what are good brands and stuff. So on that stuff, it seems to be excellent. I used it to do that, and it worked. I mean, they gave me good supplements, so it does work. And you don't have to put up with the hype, because if you go into Google and you look for supplements that are supposed to do something, you're going to find a lot of frauds there with high rankings in Google. They're going to come up right away, and it's absurd. The AI is probably going to do away with Google being used for a lot of searches, because Google is turned into a piece of junk. you know about 20 years ago, they got intoxicated with pay-per-click, and they don't want anybody to get their website up in the first 20 results or the first 2 pages of Google. They want people to pay them for pay-per-click. And so many people don't know any better, and they join in with the pay-per-click, right? And they drive the price of the pay-per-click up, usually to the point where they break even, unless you have some unusual situation. Now, like I've told you before, if I was getting good offerings, I would have went to pay-per-click to expand the amount of people that see the material I present, but that requires probably putting $3,000 a month into it, and there's no way. I mean, the SBOT false preachers are making $500,000 to $2 million a year from their websites and their social media and stuff like that. Plus, they do tours and sell products and books and speaking engagements and everything else. So they're millionaires. So if they want to do stuff like that, they could do it, but I can't. So the false gospel spreads forth, and that's probably why the internet's going to go down, because they dominate the internet with a series of false gospels. Okay, that's enough reason by itself for me to completely expect the internet to fail and not be there. So moving along, Syria, of course, is a threat to Israel, and Damascus will be a ruinous heap, and they'll get busted up pretty bad. And it's a very interesting situation, because it's constantly evolving. Okay, and it's obviously a mistake of Trump to lift the sanctions on this Giuliani, and I think he's given him military equipment. It's just complete idiocy. Yeah. Trump may not spend a lot of time on making decisions. We just think he does. He they don't tell you anymore that when it was in his first term, he played more golf than any other president by far. But it may be the same thing, and he's playing a lot of golf, and he's just not. The media is not talking about it, and he just makes important decisions very quickly, because he has better things to do this time. I don't know that, though. It may not be true. He might be very meticulous. I don't know. The Iranians are saying that the last few days before the revolution stopped, the people were using Starlink, Elon Musk's internet system, for free. They eventually figured out how to jam it, most of the time. But what they were saying now is this is probably them lying, that they left it on so they could go round up the people that were using it. I don't think so. I think that's the Ayatollah telling a fib. That's all. Trump is openly talking about a regime change, and the Iranians are coming back and saying any attack on Khomeini is an all-out declaration of war against Iran. Well, I would say bombing Iran is an all-out declaration of war on Iran, and Israel does that, and America's done that, so I'm not concerned with that. Some big cargo planes came into Israel the last couple of days, which is typical of bringing weapons in before the attack. I don't know what they brought in. So I'm assuming they were weapons. They could be offensive, they could be defensive, they could be both. They could be bombs, they could be bullets for guns, they could be I don't know what. You know? Trump has some harebrained scheme about putting people on. I think he's calling it a peace council or group or something. Basically, he's selling seats on something resembling a board of directors that doesn't have complete control by a long shot in Gaza. And to get a seat, he wants these people to pay $1 billion. Who's going to do that? I don't know. Maybe he wants to raise $10 billion and take some of the load off of Israel for cleaning debris. I don't know. Israel's in sort of a scandal now because the people that sell us the food, the Satan bots with the big supermarkets and the food processing plants, understand they're Satan bots. The government found out that they, during the war, raised food prices 20%, and their cost of acquiring the food and processing the food did not go up. They were just price gouging. So it seems that Smotrich, the economic minister, the right-wing guy, wants to do something to them about that. I don't know what. We'll have to see. Now, they pack 20% onto it, and the rabbis pack minimum 20%, maybe 25% onto it with their kosher stuff. Of course, they're kosher certifying the guys that slaughter the animals and cut the animals up and then ship the meat, and then the butchers are kosher certified, and the supermarkets that also slice the meat up are kosher certified, and the restaurants are kosher certified, and all of this stuff. So it's causing imported food is kosher certified, and it's causing price advances that are probably very high unrealistically, because Netanyahu has granted the ultra-Orthodox the right to be the only ones, the only rabbis that can control the kosher system. So if they let, conservative rabbis or other rabbis do it, in other words, let any rabbi do it, the price would go down from 25% probably to 5 or 10%, because there would be competition as to which rabbi you want to use. But our horrible leader, Netanyahu, won't do anything like that because he gets political support from the ultra Orthodox, so he gave them a monopoly on declaring food kosher. So we use the Arab supermarkets and other supermarkets that are not kosher, and the meat, not only does it taste better, it's cheaper. And there's nothing, you know, in the Old Testament about koshering meat. That's a Talmud concoction, I believe. So, okay, so that's what we're dealing with. I have never, ever in my life that I can recall anyway, Netanyahu ever doing anything, not saying he'll do it, actually doing it, anything to reduce housing prices, because that keeps most of the Israelis from coming to Israel from around the world because they can't afford the house. So if they have a nice house in London and they sell it, maybe they get $3 million, what are they going to get? They're going to get for $3 million in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, they'll get a high-end blue collar, the upper scale of blue collar house. That's all they're going to get. If they get into $6 to $10 million, they'll get a really nice house, what they call an executive house. And if they're going to go over 9 or 10 million, they'll get something resembling a luxury house, a Beverly Hills luxury house, something like that. So getting an apartment in a not nice building in a not nice neighborhood in the middle of nowhere, that's 2 bedroom and maybe 1,000 to 1,200 square feet, maybe less, which will have one full bath and one half bath, and not nice at all. Would probably cost at least 180,000 in the middle of nowhere, not in any big city or place where there's a lot of work or anything like that. That's what they do. A nice 2 bedroom would be about 300 to 400,000 U.S. dollars, something like that, for a nice one. And they do exist. Now, if you wanted to be in a big city, of Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, you wanted a nice 2 bedroom where you had inside parking, you had maybe 2 balconies, you had a view of something. The building was secure, it was modern, it was newish. You could be looking at $750,000 to $1 million for an apartment. Yeah. I know there's some that are about 100,000 in Tiberias, but they're dumps. They got cockroaches and they don't do maintenance and they're noisy at times. Most people rent them out as guest houses by the day, but they run, I think they're about 350 to 400 square feet. That's small. Okay, but it does have division areas. It has a balcony. No kidding, it's about maybe 18 inches wide to 20 or so, 24 inches wide, and about 4 feet long, maybe 5 feet. I mean, you can barely move out there. But you can put a barbecue outside there, okay? And that would run about 100,000 U.S. dollars. I mean, it's tiny. It's, and I temporarily live there. many years ago, and it's loaded with cockroaches, and nothing seems to work right. The air conditioning there is super anemic. It hardly does anything. Um, no, it's pretty bad. You know, there is a parking area. It's got a roof over it, and it has security guys watching it during the night and the day. And yeah, so it's under roof parking, and then you could walk to the entrance of the building where you really wouldn't get wet, and then it has elevators, and um, sometimes they have guys watching the entrance to the building too, because it's near Arab villages, and I mean you could manage it for 3 months, but it's pretty small, and people, because there's a lot of rental units in there, they're constantly blasting, karaoke and other kinds of music because they're on vacation, they're getting drunk. So it's a pretty miserable place to live, to be honest with you. Uh, that's what 100,000 would get you. Okay. So, if we're going to look for something here, one of the things worth looking at is you could buy a mobile home, not a motorhome, a mobile home on wheels, and they're pretty expensive. Or you could get a container house that's custom made. Um, the 26-foot motorhomes, which is enough for a married couple, come in at about 40,000 US dollars. So everything in Israel is expensive and rip off. Other things people are doing is converting school buses. Um, when you have a home that's on wheels, the government treats it differently, not like it's a home, like it's a temporary dwelling. So that's why some people are drawn to the motor, the things that have wheels, because they could buy agricultural land where you're not supposed to build on it. But if you put a school bus on it or a mobile home on it, they call them a caravan, and it's got wheels, you can live on it, and they don't consider that building a home there. But now comes water and sewage and electricity. In agricultural land, you can have some difficulties about that. Uh, so the rules in Israel are, well, there's a legal word, unconscionable. They're so bad they shouldn't be allowed to exist. And see, Netanyahu takes pride in this because he has reduced the amount of Jews coming to Israel by massive amounts. Okay, massive. And he's also gotten Jews to leave Israel. And if you think that's not making him happy, you better think again. You don't understand what you're dealing with. You're naive. You think these people are not working with your enemy. So now they're telling us that Netanyahu may not leave office if he doesn't get elected. That'll cause a violent war. I don't think he has the guts to do it, but I don't know what he'll do. He might run away to America, and Trump might give him political asylum against the courts in Israel. Could happen. This is news again. I'm getting constantly, multiple times a day again, people that they send spam and they want you to work with them and, you know, uh, expose their product on your channel. I can't do that because I'm making merchandise out of the people that watch me, but I think they're all frauds, and what you're going to wind up doing is running ads against YouTube policies and possibly getting thrown off the channel. And at the same time, you're going to be driving people to some website uh, to buy stuff, and the people that sent you the email are going to be that website, and they're never going to pay you in a million years. You know, no matter what happens, and they're probably going to try to get you to pay them. So it's just a fraud, you know. And they write you letters. They say that they're major billion-dollar companies, and they're not. You know, they have an email address at some free email place. They don't even have a domain to send email. uh, the internet is just full of fraud. You know, I bought these eye drops, very inexpensive. They come from India. So I waited about six weeks for the guy to give me a tracking number. He never gave me a tracking number. He had a very, very high rating on eBay. No tracking number. So I said to him, well, we're going to have a refund because we're coming up to the deadline. So the guy says, wait. So I didn't respond to it. You know, I'm telling myself, wait. The guy never sent it in 6 weeks, never even gave me a tracking number. Wait. So what is he going to do with wait? Well, I'll tell you what he can do. He takes an envelope and he mails it from India to me. What does that cost him in American money? I don't know, $1. It's very cheap. There's nothing in it. And then it won't get here for a month. And then he hopes the time limit runs out on me filing for a refund. And then he gets away with it. So he sends an empty envelope, and then he says, no, it wasn't, and it was full, and he's lying, and this and that. So if I had to do it, what I would do is I would take the package, and I would make a video, or still photos. I could do it with still photos. Just take the package and make pictures of it with the address and the return address, and then open it up in stages and display all the wrapping and the label and everything, and open it and show there's nothing in there, and just send it to YouTube and they'll give you a refund. But why should I even bother with this? I'm not gonna wait. So I gotta wait another day or two, or three or something, and then I file a complaint, and he's gonna write back, oh, we sent it to you, we sent it to you. But eBay's going to monitor the situation, and then they're just going to give me a refund because they're going to call it fail to deliver on time. Now, if the guy is 4 or 5 days late, eBay will try to drag it out and do the tracking. If it shows it's going to be delivered, yeah, okay. But if it doesn't show, it shows that they waited 6 weeks to get it tracked, they're just going to give you a refund. It's nearly impossible for the sellers on eBay to win disputes. It's really difficult for them, okay? Because there was so much fraud going on, they had to just clap it down. But I think it's getting worse there. So I had another purchase I made with some over-the-counter medicine, and the guy was using some kind of eBay shipping, I think, and it wound up reaching Israel when you did the tracking, but nothing happened. when it got to Israel, it never went anywhere. So I don't know what was wrong with it. So I wrote a query to the guy that sold it, and he said, "Oh, we're looking into it." And then I never heard anything again. And then in one morning, I look and I got a refund from eBay. So I think because he used eBay shipping, he's okay. The way I think eBay shipping works is you ship the product to various centers eBay maintains around the world. So most of the sellers get the cheapest postage price they can and mail it to the eBay shipping center. It's slow. Like in America, it takes, like 5, 6 days to get there. And then they take their sweet time processing the package. And what they seem to do is put it with a company like FedEx or DHL, and they fly it into Israel, and it goes to Jerusalem, and then from Jerusalem they mail it using the Israeli postal system to your house. And that's a real lousy system. But they don't want to put it on an airplane, and they're just lousy. What eBay does is it makes a large profit off of shipping international. It can't do anything with domestic. What most people in America would do with eBay is, the guy mails it to you. It's usually for free or close to free, you know, and it takes a few days to get to you. That's it, you know. A lot of the sellers don't even charge shipping when you do that. That's what most people in America do. Uh, but with the international, they're insane. So this over-the-counter medicine, I couldn't find it anymore on Amazon, and I looked around the world. So I had to go to eBay. And, it was a waste of time, but I didn't lose any money. So I don't know if I'm going to reorder from another source or what to do. Never showed. It was in that Proxen. It never showed up, So it may show up one day. I don't know. Once I bought a martial arts thing, a cane, and many years ago, and they sent it to Israel. And I couldn't track it. I couldn't find it. I don't know what happened to it. And then I applied for a refund, I believe, and then it showed up. The package was all shredded and open, and it came. So if I remember correctly, I canceled the refund. I got it, but it took 3 months. I mean, the postal service in Israel is pretty bad. Pretty bad. And the other culprits is Amazon tries to make money on the shipment, but that's if you use American Amazon. If you use Amazon in other countries, like in Europe, shipping to Israel, or even Singapore or other places, it's pretty good. You could also buy from Amazon in Mexico and Canada. You could buy Amazon from France, Germany, Italy, Sweden, Netherlands, the UK, and I don't know, many places, Spain. So you can run around checking all these places, and the shipping is very fast from Europe to Israel. Generally, they fly the stuff to Germany, and then Germany just flies it into Tel Aviv, and that's that. It's easy and it's quick, like something like American shipping time, times 4 or 5 days or something. All right. So Syria is a problem for Trump because it's going to make him look like the village idiot because that thing is blowing up and he's going to eventually do a very serious genocide on some people and it's going to fall on Trump. And then Trump's going to reinstate the sanctions and Turkey's going to, yeah, it's just a nutty thing. It's a real mistake Trump made and won't admit. Yeah, this is very interesting. The U.S. Army has deployed M1 Abrams tanks to the U.S. Central Command area of responsibility. And also Bradley fighting vehicles, which I think's like an armored personnel carrier or something like that, into the Middle East region. Now, why is he bringing tanks? You use a tank if you're going to do a land invasion, or you use a tank if you're going to defend against a land invasion. So I don't know what Trump's doing with this. I'm at a loss. What his plans are for these tanks, I don't know. It might have something to do with Gaza. It could be that. That's my best guess. Using them for Iran, it doesn't compute. It makes no sense. U.S. soldiers assigned to the 3rd Squadron, 278th Armored Cavalry Regiment, Task Force Reaper. Well, what a name, huh? Were photographed driving an M1 Abrams tank off of a C-17 Globemaster cargo plane transport aircraft in the Central Command area back in December. I don't know what they're very unspecific as to what they're using these things for. I don't know. I'm not sure what Trump's cooking up there. The Abrams deployment followed the arrival of M2A Bradley fighting vehicles. It doesn't click. I don't know what Trump's up to with this, except if he wants to use them in Gaza or something, but don't know. Yesterday, the Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier was crossing the Strait of Malacca in near Malaysia on its way to the Arabian Sea against the backdrop of tensions with Iran. So the Abraham Lincoln's going to come up outside the Persian Gulf, going east. You have the Sea of Oman, Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean area. It'd be in that area. It's coming in. It's going to stay well away from the range of Iranian missiles. So it's not going to be getting very close to Iran, you could rest assured. Okay. Now, Trump's threatening to put 1,500 regular Army paratrooper rangers. This is a low-level special forces, regular Army, into Minneapolis. and he's going to bring it into Minnesota. So Minnesota is very hot right now against ICE. And apparently, the Black Panther organization made some type of a revival. Huey Newton and Angela something. This goes back to when I was in law enforcement. You're talking, many years ago. You're talking more than 50 years ago. And they were, at some point, some of them were vicious, some of them weren't. And they had all different kinds of members, They got a judge in California, I think Marin County, and they took a sawed-off shotgun and duct taped it to his head. What that would do, I don't know if I want to tell you what that would do. That's not for the internet. And I believe they shot firemen in San Francisco, and they did a lot of bad stuff. They got that girl, the rich girl, and they got her, and they brainwashed her, and then she went and robbed a bank with them, holding a machine gun. They got busted up, They attacked some cops in the Oakland area, and then the cops went back and attacked their headquarters, which was a big scandal. They're coming back. I don't understand this, and I don't. They need to know. We need to know who their leader is, if they got one, where they're trained, who's supporting them. It's some Weisenheimer says, "Oh, we're Black Panthers now." Okay, so what? In where was it? 60s, mostly 70s, I think into the 80s, we had the Gray Panthers, which were old people like me that were lobbying the government and protesting and getting government benefits for the old people to be increased, and they just got old and died off. They did a good job, but they didn't last. They were old. You wouldn't have been in the Great Panthers unless you were, at least 65. And, they went 15, 20 years, and that was it. They died off, or they were too sick and ill to do much about it, too debilitated, So these particular soldiers that Trump is using have a very very interesting area of expertise: Arctic conditions, cold like Minnesota, right, and urban warfare like Minnesota. 1,500 of them. So apparently, the situation with ICE and them is getting out of hand, and he wants to stop it now. Special agents like ICE and other lower ranking officials with ICE, they're not trained for, urban warfare and stuff like that. The special agents are predominantly investigators that are used to making maybe tough arrests, Um, they're not, they're not there for riot control and stuff like that. They get a little training in that, but very superficial. Look, highway patrol usually gets riot training, and police and sheriffs, but you know. So this is because there's ongoing violence and clashes that have escalated in that area, Minnesota, I should say. Well, Minneapolis is in Minnesota, but I believe it's isolated in Minneapolis. But if it's in Minneapolis, it's in Minnesota by definition. Anyway, um, So I don't know if Trump's going to deal with them like Iran deals with protesters. I doubt it. I doubt it. I think they'll make arrests. I don't think Trump's going to brutalize them. If they try to hurt the federal agents, yeah. We'll see. See, the local police in Minneapolis may have been told leave the don't leave it alone. Don't help the federal agents. So they just stand there while the federal agents come under an onslaught from large amount of civilians. It's probably something like that. Here's another moron example of Trump. The European Union is expanding tariffs or preparing tariffs amounting to 93 billion euros. Wow, that's more than I make in a week. Against the US following Trump's tariffs on countries in the Union regarding Greenland. Trump is waging a tariff war, and he's not smart enough to understand it could be turned against him. And your economy in America is very bad because this idiot. And the ceasefire, as I told you, in Syria already broke up. It was breached, but they may reinstate it. Usually it goes like that, and then it eventually just falls apart. Now, Trump has asked Pakistan to join the Gaza Board of Peace. I mean, that's a staunch enemy of Israel. What is Trump doing? Well, he doesn't care because he has the overall power in this peace board, so he's not worried about it. The Iranians are saying they're in a process of slowly bringing back the internet little by little. But I have a feeling that what they're going to do is allow access to a few places outside of Iran and maybe just allow access inside Iran, and that's it. All right. That pretty much wraps up the news. Let me do a quick check and see if anything happened of any substance very recently, which probably is not the case, but take a quick look. I mean, quick. The protesters in Minneapolis told the guy wearing a American flag that if he takes it off, he won't get hurt. If he keeps it on, he'll get hurt. So this is obviously an un-American. You know, I mean, it's, you know, what are you gonna do? I mean, it's just such a nutty situation. You know. Okay, what next? Well, let's do Habakkuk. That's one of what's called the minor prophets, but I wouldn't want to be in heaven and meet Habakkuk and he says, "Why were you calling me a minor prophet?" You know? I don't like that idea. So, okay, lousy iPad went to 2 instead of 1. Okay, 1. 1, 1. The burden which. Let me get these on. Hold on. Let's check this. Looks good. Let me real quick check the live stream and see. Of course, I like to answer questions if I could pick up questions that people put in the live stream. Come to India. I will show you roaring celebration. I don't know what you're celebrating in India, but I'm familiar with people from India and I like people from India. Rhode Island, okay. The K9 Rhode Island. Well, I got dogs. Patty Hearst, that was the one. That's right, Patty Hearst. She was from the family of the William Hearst, the publishing guys with the newspapers, many newspapers, and he had a castle in California called Hearst Castle, big estate. The movie stars used to go up there. I imagine it was in reality in Epstein Island. Someone says people feel like BLM, I guess that's Bureau of Land Management, didn't help anyone but themselves and kind of like the Somalis. What happened here? Oh, this YouTube makes changes and they're always bad, I think. Okay, let me shut this off. I'm not seeing anything I didn't deal with. So 1-1 of Habakkuk. The burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. So he must have had a vision or dream, one or the other, both. O Jehovah, how long shall I cry and thou will not hear? Oh, this stinking iPad. Hold on. and thou wilt not hear. What? Oh, gosh, this piece of trash. I just touched the screen and it changes. It's junk. Okay. Will thou not hear, even cry? What? I'm trying to find out why this is so obtuse. And thou wilt not hear. And then it says, even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou will not save. Well, that sounds like us, because where we've kind of left the 2,000 years of punishment in Hosea 6:1 and 2, and we're into the time period which is not defined precisely at all, of recompenses paid back to the nations over what they're doing with Israel. Okay, that's where we're at right now. We're not in the 2,000-year punishment anymore. We're in the period of recompenses. And I don't have the scripture for this, but the Lord did tell me that we're in recompenses on August 10, 2023. So it's still going on. Now, scriptures use the term year of recompenses, and that's incorrect translation. It's a period of time. It's not a calendar year. I learned that lesson the hard way. Okay, 1 verse 3. Why dost thou show me lawlessness and cause me to behold grievance for spoiling and violence are before me, and there are, the English is so bad, and there are that raise up strife and contention. Sounds like us. Therefore, the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. So they're not paying attention to the law, and that sounds like Israel. They pay attention to the Talmud, and they don't do much judgment or anything. For the wicked doth compass about, the righteous therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. The English is so good. Go forth, for the wicked doth compass about, surround. Compass, the different points of the compass, they surround you, right? Okay. The righteous therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. So it's a lousy English of saying they're getting bad judgments. And that's true in Israel and all over the world. Habakkuk 1:5. Behold, you among the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days which you will not believe, though it be told you. Well, that certainly sounds like where we're headed with Zechariah. For lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the breadth of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. Well, the Chaldeans in prophecy is generally America. It could mean others, but the Muslims are not generally referred to as the Chaldeans, it's the Americans. they are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. Their horses also are swifter than the leopards, and are more fierce than the evening wolves, and their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from far. They shall fly as the eagle that hasteth to eat. They shall come all for violence. Their faces shall sup up as the east wind, and they shall gather the captivity as the sand. And they shall scoff, the captivity would be Israel, and they shall scoff at the kings, and the princes shall be a scorn unto them. They shall deride every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it. Then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend, imputing this his power unto his God. And although art thou not from everlasting, O Lord my God, my Holy One, we shall not die, O Jehovah. Thou hast ordained them for judgment, and Almighty God, thou hast established them for correction. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil, and canst not look on lawlessness. Wherefore lookest thou upon them that deal treacherously, and holdest thy tongue when the wicked devoureth the man that is more righteous than he, and makes men as the fishes of the sea, as the creeping things that have no ruler over them. They take up all of them with the angle, it would be the fish hook. They catch them in their net and gather them in their drag. They pull the net in the water. Therefore, they rejoice and are glad. Therefore, they sacrifice unto their net, and burn incense unto their drag, because by them their portion is fat, and their meat plenteous. Shall they therefore empty their net and not spare continually to slay the nations? It's interesting. Let's keep going and see where the applicability is here. It doesn't sound like the deliverance is anything like it is in Zechariah 12 or Malachi 3 or 4. So it doesn't sound right now like it's anything for these days, but it has a similarity. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what shall I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is intended is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yes, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Pride cometh before a fall. Neither, that's me talking, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and death. As hell and death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth in unto him nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Remember, it says that America will do evil in our sight. Okay, so that's consistent with what we were reading. So it might have reference to us in these days we're in right now. Let's keep reading. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that oh gosh, wait a second, it moved on me, this rotten stinking thing again. Oh, it's such a pain using these things. No, I went to 3. I need to be in 2. Okay, I'm back in 2. Now, what verse was I in? Well, it's a small chapter, so. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by one. Okay, we were there. Let's go further down. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Okay. So remember, Trump is stealing Gaza from us, right? Okay. Making sure we fought the battle, why don't we take it back and then end it forever so it doesn't happen again? No, he don't want that. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? Thou shalt be booties unto them? That's odd. Let's keep reading. Because thou hast spoiled many heathen, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood, and by the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Well, that certainly doesn't sound like Zechariah 12. It could be the Ezekiel 38:39, maybe. Because when Ezekiel 38:39 happens, we have already spoiled many nations. So that could be it. We'll keep reading. We'll get there. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by lawlessness. Behold, is it not of the Lord of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken, also that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. For the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the spoil of beasts which made them afraid be because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city and of all that dwell therein. What profiteth the graven image that the maker thereof hath graven it? The molten image and a teacher of lies, that the maker of his work trusted therein to make dumb idols. Woe unto him that saith to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise, it shall teach. Okay, that's the idol worshippers. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. This is very tedious reading. See if we can speed it up. I used to teach Habakkuk, but I didn't teach it in ages, and I don't remember where it takes us. Let's take a look here. Here we go. Okay. We'll go into 3. Here we go. Now we get interesting. More interesting and more specific as to the timing now. A prayer of Habakkuk the prophet upon whatever. Shigayonis or something. O Jehovah, I have heard thy speech and was afraid, O Jehovah. Revive thy work in the midst of the years, in the midst of the years make known in wrath. Remember mercy. God came from Taman, that's Yemen, which is Edom. Taman means the south. And the Holy One from the mountain Paran, Salah. Where is Paran? Let's see if we can come up with something on that. No, let me get into this already. I'll figure it out. It extends into the south and the Negev and can go up north. Okay. Um, let's get back. This talks about what happens to Edom. I have heard thy speak. Okay, now we go further down. God came from Taman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran, Salah. His glory covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. And his brightness was as the light. He had horns coming out of his hand. Okay. And there was the hiding of his power. Before him went the pestilence and burning coals. Burning coals went forth at his feet. He stood and measured the earth. He beheld and drove asunder the nations, and the everlasting mountains were scattered. The perpetual hills did bow. His ways are everlasting. I saw the tents, me?
No.
Of Cushan in affliction, and the curtain of the land of Midian did tremble. Was the Lord displeased against the rivers, the things anger against thy rivers? Thine anger against the river, thy anger against the rivers was thy wrath against the sea, that thou didst ride upon thine horses and thy chariot of salvation. Thy bow was made quite naked, according to the oaths of the tribes, even thy word, Salah, thou didst leave the earth with rivers. See, this is very hard to put this together with anything. Difficult, really. The mountains saw thee, they trembled. The overflowing of the water passed by, the deep uttered his voice and lifted up his hands on high. The sun and the moon stood still in their habitation at the light of thine arrows. They went and at the shining of the glittering spear. Thou didst march through the land in indignation. Thou didst thresh the heathen in anger. Let me try to scan through this and see if I can understand what we're talking about here. The Lord God is my strength, and he will make my feet like hinds' feet, and he will make me to walk upon mine high places, to the chief singers on string. Okay. So I wanted to try to cover things that pertain to us today. Which Habakkuk doesn't seem to really exactly meet the test of it. It's some of it could be, but it's not that precise. So what can we do now? We can go on to Zephaniah, the next book. I don't know if we'll do all of Zephaniah, but we can get into it. Let's see what we get. So I'm in 2 and I'm trying to get back to 1. There we go. The word of Jehovah which came unto Zephaniah, the son of Cushi, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, and the son of Hezekiah, in the days of Josiah, the son of Amos, king of Judah. I will utterly consume all things off the land, saith Jehovah. I will consume man and beast. I will consume the fowls of the heaven and the fishers of the sea and the stumbling blocks. Hold on, getting cold again here. The stumbling blocks with the wicked, and I will cut off man from being on the land, or on the cut man off the land, saith the Lord. Now, this is going to be an interesting study. I'm going to take a quick break for a minute, and we'll get into this. If I remember correctly, it turns out it's not as severe as it reads right now, but let's wait. I'll be right back.
Is found in the Bible in Romans chapter 12, verse 18. The verse reads, "If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, with peace be with all men." Would you like me to find similar quotes about peace?
I gotta put more wood in before she gets here today.
Probably it's not gonna come like this. It'd be going more right now, of course. It's so cold. Maybe it'll warm up. Maybe we'll start that process.
Not yet. No, I looked at it. We got a ways to go. We're not there yet, but we'll be there. I just felt today was a good day to go through the minor prophets that we haven't gone through in years, probably. Because we're kind of in a holding pattern, the lull before the storm with the war. I don't think Trump's going to do anything till 2 aircraft carrier groups get here and other equipment. Then he goes on in Zephaniah 1:4, "I will also stretch out my hand upon Judah and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off the remnant of Baal." Those are your Satan bots. Jerusalem and Judah is the land we have now. Remnants of Baal are the people we have here in Israel worshiping the demons. They do get cut off. They get burned up from this place, and the name of the Shem or Aaron's with the priests, those could be the Kabbalah, Talmud people and stuff like that. And them that worship the host of heaven, and that would include Tammuz, the sun god, that's part of the host of heaven, right? Upon the housetops, and them that worship and that swear by Jehovah, and that swear by Malcolm, that's a demon. So they'll use Jehovah's name and demons, and they don't care. and them that are turned back from the Lord, and those that have not sought the Lord, nor inquired for him. See, the Satanist, if he inquires of the Lord, makes an inquiry to the Lord, he's in a lot of trouble with Satan. Hold thy peace at the presence of Adonai Yehovah, for the day of the Lord is at hand. That's Ezekiel 38:39. For Jehovah hath prepared a sacrifice, he hath bid his guests. That's exactly Ezekiel 38:39. And it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord's sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the king of children, and all such as are clothed with strange apparel. So I told you we're going to be dressing correctly. In the same day also will I punish all those that leap on the threshold, which fill their master's house with violence and deceit. And it shall come see, that's speaking of restored Israel, of course. And they rise up against us. They'd be slaves, probably. And it shall come to pass, it could be indentured servants, I don't know, probably slaves. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Jehovah, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Howl, you inhabitants of Makesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and will punish the men that are settled on their lees, that say in their heart, Jehovah will not do good, neither will he do evil. Therefore, their goods shall become a booty, a spoil, and their houses a desolation. They shall also build houses, but not inhabit them. And they shall plant vineyards, but not drink the wine thereof. The great day of the Lord is near. That's the end of the second 70. It is near, and hasteth greatly. even the voice of the day of Jehovah. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath. A day of trouble and distress. A day of wasteness and desolation. A day of darkness and gloominess. A day of clouds and thick darkness. A day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Jehovah, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, because they're worshiping other gods. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. Now, it's what it says, speedy riddance, and then it says of all, and then it says dwell in the land. So it's getting rid of the bad ones, okay? And that's the 2/3 getting cut off. Zephaniah 2. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired. That's a Goyim nation, a heathens nation. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the chaff is the waste from the harvest that they burn up, before the fierce anger of Jehovah come upon you, before the day of the day of Jehovah's anger come upon you. He's warning them. Seek you the Lord, all you meek of the earth. See, the poor, the meek, the gentle, not the rich Satan butts, which have brought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be you shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. See? Now, hid in the day of the Lord's anger is not getting yanked up into heaven, okay? You're hid down here on earth, okay? For Gaza shall be forsaken, yep, and Ashkelon a desolation. They shall drive out Ashdod at the noonday, and Ekron shall be rooted up. Woe unto the inhabitants of the sea, seacoast. The nation of the Cherethites, the word of Jehovah is against you, O Canaan, the land of the Philistines. I will even destroy thee, that there shall be no inhabitant. See, this is sounding like our times now, not all being projected into the Gog and Magog, great day of the Lord. And the seacoast the seacoast shall be dwellings and cottages for shepherds and folds for flocks. The seacoast would, let's check the word for sea. Yam. Okay, that's the Mediterranean coast, I would think. Okay, so the Gaza and also north of Gaza. So that's beautiful land, you know. You have a great time with that, right by the water and everything. Okay. And the coast shall be for the remnant of the house of Judah. Yay! They shall feed thereupon in the house of Ashkelon. Ashdod, Ashkelon's like the north of Gaza in Israel today, but back then it could have been considered contained in Gaza. So it may be in Gaza, as the Lord sees it prophetically. Shall they lie down in the evening, for Jehovah Elohim shall visit them and turn away the captivity. I have heard the reproach of Moab and the reviling. That's Moab is central and southern Jordan. And the reviling of the children of Ammon, that's north of Jordan, the capital, whereby they have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their border. Therefore, as I live, saith Jehovah of armies, the Elohim Yisrael, God of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom destroyed, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah. So the northern ones will be like, so they're gone. I mean, Jordan gets it. There's 9 to 11 million people in Jordan that want to rush over here and kill Israel. Okay. And the king of Jordan is a schmuck, and he's not really very secure over there. Even the breeding of nettles and salt bits and a perpetual desolation, the residue of my people shall spoil them, and the remnant of my people shall possess them. See, this is our days. This shall they have for their pride, because they have reproached and magnified They magnified themselves against the people of Jehovah. That's the believers. Against the people of Jehovah of armies. Okay. It says Jehovah will be terrible unto them, for he will famish all the gods of the earth, the phony gods, And men shall worship him, every one from his place, even all the isles of the heathen. You Ethiopians also, you shall be slain by my sword. And he will stretch out his hand against the north and destroy Assyria, and will stretch out his hand against the north and destroy Assyria, and will make Nineveh a desolation and dry like a wilderness, and flocks shall lie down in the midst of her. All the beasts of the nations, both the cormorant and the bittern, shall lodge in the upper lintels of it. That's high up in their houses, I guess, where the pillars are or something. Their voice shall sing in the windows. Desolation shall be in the threshold, for he shall uncover the cedar work. This is the rejoicing city that dwell carelessly, that said in her heart, I am, and there is none desired, none beside me. There's none beside me. How is she become a desolation, a place for beasts to lie down? Everyone that passes by shall hiss and wag his hand. Now, it sounds like America, but it could also be Yemen, for instance, and Moab, and other countries. Okay. Zephaniah 3. Woe to him to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. She obeyed not the voice, she received not correction, she trusted not in Jehovah, she drew not near to her God. Her princes within her are princes within her roaring lions, her judges are evening wolves. They gnaw not the bones till they gnaw not the bones till the morrow. Her prophets are light and treacherous persons, her priests, have polluted the sanctuary. They have done violence to the law. I think he's speaking of the Israelites now. For not obeying the Lord. The just Lord is in the midst thereof, and he will not do lawlessness. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. No, they don't. I have cut off the nations, their towers are desolate high rises. I made their streets waste, that none passeth by. I have cut off the nations, the heathen nations, their towers are desolate. I made their streets waste, that none, that sounds a lot like Gaza. It really does. That none passeth by, their cities are destroyed, so that there is no man, that there is none inhabitant. I said, surely thou wilt fear me, thou wilt receive instruction. The Lord's trying to save them, so their dwelling should not be cut off. Howsoever, I punished them, but they rose early and corrupted all their doings. That's how they are. Those are your Satan bots. They're idiots. Therefore wait you upon, they're like children, bad children. Therefore wait you upon me, saith Jehovah, until the day that I rise up to the prey, for my determination is to gather the nations that may assemble, the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, my anger, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with fire for my jealousy. See, that's for our times. It's Jeremiah 30:11, Jeremiah 46:28. For then will I turn to the people a pure language. That would be us, probably Old Hebrew, that they may all call upon the name of Jehovah to serve him with one consent, all in agreement. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, servants, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering. In that day shall thou not be ashamed for all thy doings, wherein thou hast transgressed against me, for then I will take away out of the midst of thee them that rejoice in my pride, and thou shalt no more be haughty because of my holy mountain, Mount Zion. I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of Jehovah. Well, are you afflicted? Yes. Are you poor? Yes. There you go. And do you trust in the name of Jehovah? There you go. The remnant of Israel shall not do lawlessness not do lawlessness or iniquity, nor speak lies. Neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in the mouth in their mouth, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. That's redemption. Sing, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O Israel. Be glad and rejoice with all the heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Jehovah hath taken, see, we're daughter of Jerusalem, right? Okay, United States is daughter of Babylon. You're getting the point? We're the good ones, they're the bad ones. All right. The Lord hath taken away thy judgments. He has, so that's when it's over. We hit redemption. The appearing in the clouds of Yeshua. He hath cast out thy enemy, the king of Israel. Even Jehovah is in the midst of thee. Thou shalt not see evil anymore. See, when it says cast out the king of Israel, that's like the Netanyahu, okay? Because he's an enemy of ours. You get it? It says, this is Zephaniah 3:15. He hath cast out thine enemy, the king of Israel, even the Lord. Oh, no. It doesn't reference, no, it doesn't. I'm sorry. The English is so choppy. It's saying he gets rid of your enemy, and then the king of Israel, even the Lord is in the midst of the, thou shalt not, that's the glory of God of Israel. Thou shalt not, the king of Israel is not the glory of God of Israel. Two or more are gathered together, there he is in the midst. So it could be that. Thou shalt not see evil anymore. In that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, fear thou not, and to Zion, let not thine hand be slack. In other words, work. Jehovah thy Elohim, Jehovah Elohim, in the midst of thee, mighty he will save, he will rejoice over thee with joy. Mighty he will save. That's the appearing in the clouds. He's in the midst of us, he's in the clouds. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing. I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly, who are of thee, to whom the reproach of it was a burden. Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halteth. That means they don't walk right. And gather her that was driven out, the ones that got run out of Israel. And I will get them. Now that could be the dry bones from the past and so forth. And I will get them praise and fame. Okay. Whoops. The Lord thy God in the midst of thee, mighty he will save. This is it's Zephaniah 3:17. He will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing. This is going to be someday. I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly, who are of thee, Israelites, or believers, to whom the reproach of it was a burden. Israelites, I guess. Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halteth, and gathereth her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been, where they have been put to shame. This is going to be something, isn't it? At that time will I bring you again, even in the time that I gather you, for I will make you a name and a praise among all people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith Jehovah. That means return back. It's talking of the second Exodus, when turn back your captivity. That's the second Exodus is what we're talking about there. All right, so we got some prophecy done that we don't normally do. It's all good. And, it's just a question of waiting. I don't know how much longer we got to wait. We're never told. So there's no way to come out and accurately say, well, this is going to happen, in so many days or weeks. You can't do that. Somebody said they're trying to spread positivity through the live channels. Is that a scripture? Someone is encouraging me to come to India. I know people in India that are believers that have invited me, and this is my place. I'm not supposed to leave. But in that regard, I will read you a scripture that you should take seriously if you're still here. I think you probably are. Jeremiah 30, verse 11, which is for these times. Oh, that didn't work. I got Jeremiah 36. How did that happen? All right, back we go. For I am with thee, saith Jehovah. That's with Israel. To save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, heathen nations, whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Okay, well, we're going through that now. Maybe not so much anymore, but we were before recompenses. Okay, so he's going to make a full end of all nations whither he scattered us. Well, we know there's plenty of Jewish people in India, so India is going to be destroyed with all the other nations. Now, let's go to Jeremiah 46, verse 28. Fear thou not, O Yaakov, that's Israel, my servant, saith Jehovah, for I am with thee. So he's allied with Israel, basically. He's protecting Israel. He's with us. I will make a full end of all the heathen nations whither I have driven okay. So let's take a quick look at social media and see if anything is popping up. The last little bit, see, I doubt it, but you never know. I think this is the lull before the storm while all the equipment is being moved in. No, I don't see anything. And the Iranians are getting ready for an attack. So, can they do a preemptive attack before Trump has all his equipment in place, like the aircraft carriers? Yeah, but then the aircraft carriers will just come in and bomb them, so it doesn't get them too far. It does give them a chance to inflict damage, but what are they doing? Well, they're probably shoring up their defenses and continuing to crank out weapons, probably begging China and Russia for any kind of major weapons help that they could give, whatever that may be. And that's what I think they're doing, getting ready for their Holocaust to come. Is it real that Trump's really going to do this? I think so, because France, Germany, and the UK have moved fighter jets into position. They're keeping some in Jordan, and they're actually bombing Syria, ISIS people in Syria, and a lot of them are being put in Cyprus. Cyprus is not. They're not putting their jets in Cyprus to attack Syria. That's stupid. They're not. They're doing that from Jordan. Syria is very weak. There's not much that can happen. Okay. Cyprus is where Israel puts a lot of their jets to protect from Iran when Iran's attacking the jets that we're not using. They can't reach Cyprus, is our opinion. So they're going to be in the fight. Israel will be in the fight. Trump will be in the fight, and that's 5 right now. Now, I suspect Italy will be in the fight, and maybe 1 or 2 other countries. I don't know. Would Canada get in the fight? I doubt it. Australia? Nah, too far. No. Not sure who else would be, but could happen. Look, 5 is enough. France can fight. Germany can fight. The UK can fight. Don't kid yourself. Israel can fight. And America can fight. And Iran can't fight much. All it could do is rain a lot of doom and gloom down on countries nearby them with missiles. That's all they can do. Now, a lot of experts are saying that this is going to lead to the taking out of the Iranian Navy, which is a junk navy. I mean, Hamas says they have a navy too, Uh, so it comes. because of these other countries, I think Trump is going to get into it. He's not going to be that scared. And remember, we don't know what'll happen when wars start. You don't know and I don't know, but it's a scary day. And what you think is going to happen may not happen. Now, we know what the future of Israel is, and we know the general future for the nations, and particularly the daughter of Babylon. So we'll have to see what this does. Does it trigger a world war, as they like to call it, although there's no biblical term, world war? Yeah, it could. China and Russia could just say we had enough. And North Korea and Belarus and other Muslim nations. And I don't know. We got to wait and see. Iran may do a preemptive attack. Iran may ignore Trump and just close the Persian Gulf. $20% of the world's oil doesn't move. Prices go up. Hey, let's see what happened with gold and silver, huh? I didn't check it today. That takes a few seconds. Let's take a quick look. That's important. Well, they're performing spectacular. Right now, gold is 46.61 and silver is 92.47. And our friend that we don't want to buy, platinum, was 1,600 a few weeks ago. It's 23.43, but don't buy platinum. Don't buy it. Don't buy palladium, and don't buy rhodium. Don't buy that stuff, okay? You don't want it. You just want gold and silver. None of that. All right, let's see if we had a new high for gold and silver. Wait, I got a quick one here. Did I tell you Venice, VENICE.ai is a free site for artificial intelligence that is supposedly free. It doesn't have restrictions on it. It probably is. I used it. It's okay if you want it. It's free. It's not an app. It's a website. You go to Venice, VENICE.ai. It's pretty self-explanatory. You'll figure out how to use it. We'll see if there were any new highs for gold and silver in the last 24 hours. And there were. I suspected it. Wow. Gold had a high of 46.90 per ounce. Now let's give gold a hand. That was pretty good performance. Go gold! And silver went to $94.12. Well, let's give silver a hand, huh? So what's going on here that's rather significant is we're just about to hit 100 with silver. We're less than $6 away. And we're $310 away from hitting, 5,000 with gold. Now, both of these levels are going to be, they are very serious resistance points. And when you hit them, you can very likely hit a mania where people are going to start buying like crazy. They're going to say, oh my gosh, I got to get in on this, okay? People are going to be out there saying silver's going to hit 1,000, gold's going to hit 25,000, whatever, people are going to start buying in. They're going to be thinking, oh, it's not too late to get in. Okay, they may be right. I don't know. But what does it take you with silver? Silver could easily hit 100 without any wars. Okay? Now, if Trump starts going into Cuba with his landing ships, would that cause silver to hit 100? Oh, absolutely, over. If a war starts with Iran, would silver go up a lot? Oh, gosh, I don't know how high. $50 maybe? Maybe more. And gold, hundreds. And if you start seeing multiples, like you got a fight going on with Iran, you got another one going on with Yemen, and then you got something happening in Cuba, and then the Venezuela thing turns bad, and then Mexico, and oh man, you see $200-300 gold? Yeah, silver rather. Yes, yes, yes. I can remember when gold was about 200, 220. It was in the I don't know, 2004, 2003, 2004, something like that. It was in the 200s. So what did it go up? It went up by $4,400, you know? So is that such a big thing for silver to go up another 200? No. Could it hit 1,000? I don't know. That's a big stretch. Everybody seems to walk around thinking gold will hit 10,000. Well, yeah, it looks good, but do we know if gold would climb to 20 or 30,000? I don't know. It might be you could take an ounce of gold and go to a car dealer and walk out with a nice new car. You know, I don't know. Trump may be very interested in letting the prices run up because he never told us what they have in Fort Knox, did he? No. They might have something there. And he's waiting for the gold to get very valuable. And then he can use that gold to back a digital currency and try to get everybody to use the American digital currency. And that would violate privacy big time. But you see, when the gold and silver go up, the world is scared. The world is troubled. The world knows things are not right. The world knows countries can collapse. The world knows the only security is in the metals, not in trusting in the governments. The credibility of the governments is really gone. So that's where we're at. Okay. I'm watching this very closely. I'm putting a lot of time into Telegram now, and on the war reporting because it's just a few more days, and these aircraft carriers are going to be here, and other weapons and equipment are coming in, and there's no negotiations I know of between Iran and Trump. Iran's making all the wrong mistakes with Trump. They're insulting him, they're threatening him, and it keeps going. So I have a feeling Trump lost this last go round because they stopped the overthrow of the Iranian government, and Trump probably wants to try again. All right. So let's close with some prayer for all of us. My Heavenly Father, Jehovah, I pray for me and my wife and all the true believers and their households that we would have your strength, stamina, and endurance. We'd have your healing and recuperative power flowing through us, and we would be healing of everything that needs healing every day. And I pray that for all of us and our animals and pets, we'd be safe and secure and happy, healthy, and whole. And I pray we have no accidents, no tickets, no breakdowns, no getting stopped, stuck, or stranded with any transportation method or device, cars, trains, planes, boats, whatever. I pray we don't get discriminated against by any government in any way, shape, or form, or picked on for being believers, and we don't have any witchcraft and sorcery and spells on us. You lift all that off us, loose it off of us. And I pray that we don't become victims of scams, frauds, rip-offs, robbery, assaults, or anything like that. Us and all the things we don't possess or control. And I pray that we have adequate money and then some. And if we need jobs, we can get jobs. You would help us get the good jobs. And if we need more clients and customers and sales for our businesses, we get that. And I pray that we maintain a good, happy, healthy spirit and we don't get bummed out, even though this is lasting quite a long time. We just need to stay in you and be content and praiseworthy in you. And I pray that we I'm thinking, pray we understand the Bible better and we all sleep well. Our sleep would be sweet and we'd wake up at a good hour and we don't get into thoughts that bum ourselves out and we don't get any dreams or visions or thoughts or notions or ideas from unclean spirits or people that serve unclean spirits. And I also pray for the ones that are falling away. They are always looking for new answers and new methods, and they get snagged away. And I pray for them to come back to the true gospel. And I pray this to you, my Heavenly Father, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach and Father God Jehovah. Amen. And I'm out. Thanks, guys.